The stars glittered against the vast darkness of space as Ambassador John Miller gazed out from the observation deck of Earth's orbital diplomatic station. For over a century, Earth had walked a careful line, refusing to take sides in the endless conflicts between alien civilizations. This neutrality had served humanity well. Earth had become wealthy as a trade hub where all species could do business, and powerful enough that no faction dared to attack. John straightened his blue diplomatic uniform and checked the time. The Galactic Council meeting would begin in 30 minutes. Already, representatives from 17 species were gathering in the station's Grand Hall. Ambassador Miller, a voice called from behind him. The Exilarian delegation has just docked. They seem agitated. John turned to face his assistant, Kate Young. Her expression was worried. When aren't they agitated these days? John said with a slight smile. The Exilarians have been flexing their military might for months now. Small skirmishes in the outer systems, resource grabs, the usual empire-building activities. Yes, but this time it's different, Kate replied. They'd brought military advisors to a diplomatic meeting. John frowned. That was unusual and possibly a violation of protocol. The Proxima Accord of 2157 had established strict rules for all meetings on Earth or its stations. No weapons, no military personnel, just words and ideas. In the station's security center, Commander Lisa Wright watched the Exilarian ship dock with narrowed eyes. Her hand hovered near the emergency protocols panel. "Run another scan on their ship," she ordered. "Yes, Commander," replied Officer Ben Cole. Scans showed no active weapons, but their energy signature is unusual, almost as if they're masking something. Lisa nodded. For 5 years, she had led Earth's defense fleet. The Shield, as people called it. Never attacking, only defending. Earth's technology was advanced in ways that surprised many alien species. Their shields could withstand almost any attack. Their defensive systems could neutralize most threats. All this came from humanity's long history of warfare, now turned to purely defensive purposes. "Keep monitoring them," Lisa said, "and alert Ambassador Miller." In the lower levels of the station, Dr. Alan Carter studied data from deep space monitors. The readings from the direction of Proxima Centauri troubled him. Energy spikes. Radiation patterns consistent with large-scale weapons fire. Something was happening out there, beyond the normal skirmishes. "Dr. Carter," his lab assistant Greg Peters said, "you should see this." Greg pointed to a screen showing a transmission from one of Earth's deep space probes. The images showed Silurian warships moving in formation. Not the usual patrol patterns, but something that looked very much like invasion preparations. "How recent is this?" Alan asked. 3 days ago. The probe was destroyed shortly after sending this data. Alan removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Send this to Commander Wright and Ambassador Miller." Now, back in the Grand Meeting Hall, John was greeting representatives from various species. The blue-skinned Endarians, the insectoid Krell Collective, the gaseous Vorn entities in their containment suits. All doing business, all maintaining the delicate balance of power that kept the galaxy from all-out war. A tall, gray-skinned figure approached John. Zorik, the representative from the ancient Tellurian civilization. "Ambassador Miller," Zorik said quietly, "I must speak with you privately." John noticed the unusual tension in Zorik's typically calm demeanor. "What is it, friend?" "The Exilarians. They planned something unprecedented. My sources within their empire speak of a decision made by Emperor Dracos himself. Earth's neutrality has become inconvenient for their expansion plans." Before John could respond, his communicator buzzed. Lysa's voice came through, tense and controlled. "Ambassador, we have a situation. Multiple Xilarian warships have just entered the outer Sol system. They claim it's a military exercise, but they're not responding to hails." John looked at Zorik, whom nodded gravely. "It begins," Zorik whispered. Around them, the diplomatic station hummed with activity, representatives chatting and negotiating. unaware that the century of Earth's careful neutrality might soon be coming to an end. 3 days after the Xelarian warships began their exercises, a small transport ship arrived at Earth's orbital station. It was damaged, its hull scorched from weapons fire. When the doors opened, 37 aliens stumbled out. They were thin, scared, and injured, refugees from Proxima Centauri. Among them was Maria Diaz, a human colonist who had settled on Proxima B 20 years ago. Her face was streaked with dirt and tears as she clutched a small bag of belongings. They came without warning, she told John Miller in the station's medical bay. The Xelarians said our colony was harboring rebels. There were no rebels. We were farmers and teachers. John's face remained calm, but his hands tightened into fists. How many survivors? From our settlement of 3,000. Just us. Maria closed her eyes. My husband and daughter didn't make it to the escape pods. Outside the medical bay, Commander Lisa Wright received reports from Earth's outer defense network. The Xelarian ships had moved closer, now positioning themselves near Neptune. They claim they're conducting gravity well maneuver drills, Officer Ben Cole explained. Lisa shook her head. That's not a drill formation. That's a staging area. She pulled up a secure channel to Earth's Defense Command. Activate Defense Protocol Echo 7. Quietly. Across the solar system, hidden defense platforms powered up. Stealth satellites shifted position. Earth had maintained peace through neutrality, but had prepared for war just in case. In his laboratory, Dr. Alan Carter analyzed energy readings from the Xelarian ships. These signatures match exactly with the weapon discharges we detected at Proxima, he told his assistant Greg. They're the ones who attacked the colony. Greg looked pale. Should we tell Ambassador Miller? I already sent him the data, but we need more proof before confronting the Xelarians directly. In the Grand Meeting Hall, John faced Krell, the Xelarian ambassador. Krell was tall and gray-skinned with 4 arms and eyes that glowed faintly yellow. These allegations are insulting, Krell said, his voice cold. The Proxima colony harbored terrorists who have attacked Xelarian interests for years. We have refugees who tell a different story, John replied evenly. Criminals and liars, Krell waved a dismissive hand. Earth must stop accepting these refugees immediately. They pose a security risk to all species. John maintained his diplomatic smile. Earth's doors remain open to all peaceful visitors, as guaranteed by the Proxima Accord. The Accord is becoming outdated, Krell said. The galaxy changes. Perhaps Earth's neutrality should evolve as well. After the meeting, John met with Lisa in a secure room. They're testing us, Lisa said, seeing how we'll respond. John nodded. The Galactic Council is useless. I presented evidence of the Proxima attack, and they voted to investigate further. Meanwhile, 3 council members received Xelarian trade concessions the next day. Bribes, Lisa said flatly. Of course. The question is, what does Earth do now? In the refugee quarters, Maria Diaz sat with other survivors, sharing stories and grief. A young Proximan child played nearby with a small toy. We need to organize, Maria told the group. Earth needs to know everything about the Xelarians. Their tactics, their technologies, their weaknesses. An older Proximan nodded. We thought neutrality would protect us too. We were wrong. On the bridge of his flagship, Xelarian Fleet Commander Vex studied the reports from his spies on Earth. They suspect, but they don't know, he told his officers. Earth still believes in its precious neutrality. His second-in-command looked uncertain. Earth's defenses are rumored to be substantial. Rumors, Vex laughed. Their neutrality has made them soft, and soon we test their defenses directly. Back on Earth, President Samantha Powell read the reports from John and Lisa. The evidence was mounting, but not yet conclusive. Public opinion remained firmly behind neutrality, the policy that had kept Earth safe and prosperous for generations. We need to be certain, she told her advisors. Before we abandon a century of peace, Little did she know, the Xilarians were about to make her decision much easier. The Europa Research Station was Earth's pride. 157 scientists and their families lived and worked on Jupiter's icy moon, studying the ocean beneath its surface. It was the farthest permanent human settlement in the solar system, and strictly scientific in nature. Dr. Alan Carter's sister was stationed there. They spoke weekly over the quantum communication network. It was during one of these calls that everything changed. "Alan, we're detecting unusual energy signatures near the South Pole," his sister said, her image flickering on the screen. Alan leaned forward. "What kind of signatures?" "Nothing I've seen before." "Wait." Her eyes widened. "There's a ship dropping out of faster than light travel. It's not one of ours." The screen shook. Alarms blared in the background. "Susan! Susan!" Alan shouted. The connection cut out. Within minutes, Earth's defense network lit up with alerts. Commander Lisa Wright rushed to the command center, where screens showed a Xilarian battle cruiser in orbit around Europa. "Get me a visual on the research station," she ordered. When the image appeared, the room fell silent. Where the Europa station had stood was now a smoking crater in the ice. 3 hours later, Ambassador John Miller stood before the emergency session of Earth's government. "All 157 people at the Europa station are confirmed dead," he said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "The Xilarian Empire claims it was a regrettable error in their targeting systems." President Samantha Powell's face was grim. "An error? They claim they were targeting a rogue asteroid that posed a navigation hazard," John said. "They've offered compensation for the unfortunate accident." In the laboratory beneath the diplomatic center, Dr. Alan Carter worked through his grief by analyzing data. His hand shook as he compared energy readings. "The weapon's signature matches exactly," he told Maria Diaz, who had been helping translate recovered Xilarian communications. "The same weapons used on Proxima Colony." Maria placed a hand on his shoulder. "I'm so sorry about your sister." Alan nodded, then pointed to his screen. "Look at the trajectory analysis. This was no targeting error. They adjusted course 3 times to hit the station precisely." "Deliberate," Maria whispered. "Yes, and I can prove it." Across Earth, the mood had shifted. News of the Europa attack spread rapidly. Citizens gathered in streets and parks, demanding action. The century of neutrality was suddenly unpopular. In her office, President Powell reviewed options with her military advisors. Commander Lisa Wright presented what Earth's public didn't know: the true extent of Earth's hidden military capabilities. "Ghost protocol can be fully activated within 48 hours, Lisa explained. "The shield was always our public face, but the sword has been ready for decades." President Powell studied the classified files. Earth had maintained the appearance of purely defensive capabilities, but in secret had developed technologies that could match or exceed any galactic power. "The Xilarians must suspect," she said. Lisa shook her head. "Our intelligence suggests they believe their own propaganda, that Earth is wealthy but militarily weak." In orbit, Ambassador John Miller received a secure communication from his spy within the Xilarian delegation. The Europa attack was Phase 1. The message read, "Mars colony is next, then Earth itself. Emperor Dracos has ordered full invasion preparations." John immediately contacted the president. Meanwhile, Xilarian Ambassador Krell addressed the Galactic Council. "We deeply regret the Europa incident," he said smoothly, "but we must discuss Earth's harboring of terrorists and rebels from across the galaxy. Their so-called neutrality has become a shield for anti-Xilarian activities." The council chambers erupted in debate. Some representatives sided with Earth, others with the powerful Xilarian Empire. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter presented his evidence to President Powell. The attacks were deliberate. The invasion plans were real. President Powell stood at the window of her office, looking out at the peaceful streets of Washington, D.C. The decision weighed heavily on her shoulders: maintain the neutrality that had defined human policy for generations, or prepare for war. Her communicator buzzed with an emergency alert. Silurian warships had just opened fire on the Mars colony. The attack on Mars was swift and brutal. Silurian warships targeted the main colony dome first, then methodically destroyed the smaller outposts. Of the 15,000 colonists, initial reports suggested only 7,000 had reached the emergency shelters in time. Ambassador John Miller stood before the Galactic Council, his face pale with anger. Behind him, screens showed images of the destruction on Mars. "We have brought undeniable evidence," John said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The Silurian Empire has deliberately attacked two peaceful human settlements. First Europa, now Mars. These were not errors or accidents." The council chamber buzzed with whispers. Some representatives looked genuinely shocked. Others avoided meeting John's eyes. "Earth requests immediate sanctions against the Silurian Empire," John continued. "We ask the Council to condemn these unprovoked acts of war." Krell, the Silurian ambassador, rose to speak. "These are internal matters of security. The Mars colony was harboring known enemies of the Empire. We exercise our right to protect ourselves." The debate lasted for hours. In the end, the Council voted. The decision was announced by the ancient Vorn representative who served as council leader. "The Council finds insufficient evidence to warrant sanctions. We recommend continued diplomatic discussions between Earth and the Silurian Empire." John stared in disbelief. Even with thousands dead and irrefutable evidence, the Council would do nothing. Too many members feared the Silurian Empire or had been bought with bribes and promises. "Earth will remember who stood with us today and who did not," John said quietly before leaving the chamber. On his secure channel, he sent one word to President Powell: "Failed." On Earth, Commander Lisa Wright received new orders from the President. Ghost Protocol was now active. Throughout the solar system, hidden military installations powered up. Weapons platforms emerged from camouflage. Advanced ships, kept secret for decades, prepared for action. "Alert all commands," Lisa ordered. Defense Condition 1. In his laboratory, Dr. Alan Carter activated the experimental shield technology he had been developing. It could protect Earth's remaining colonies from the kind of bombardment that had destroyed Mars. "Deploy the shield generators to Luna Base and the asteroid belt settlements," he told his team. "We don't have enough for everyone yet, but we can protect our largest population centers." Meanwhile, Maria Diaz had established a network among the refugees. Those who had escaped Silurian attacks shared information about Silurian tactics, weaknesses, and technology. "Their ships have a blind spot near the engine ports," she told Commander Wright. "And their shield frequencies can be disrupted if you know the right modulation." Across Earth, citizens watched as President Samantha Powell addressed the world. "For over a century, Earth has maintained strict neutrality in galactic affairs," she said, her face solemn on screens worldwide. "We believed that peace could be maintained through trade and diplomacy. We were wrong." Images of Mars and Europa appeared beside her. "The Silurian Empire has attacked our people without provocation or justification. Thousands of innocent men, women, and children are dead. Thousands more have been taken prisoner." She paused, then continued with steel in her voice. "The Galactic Council has failed to act. Earth stands alone against this aggression. But we are not helpless, and we are not unprepared." She straightened her shoulders. "As of this moment, our neutrality ends. I have authorized our military to take all necessary actions to defend Earth and its colonies, to free our captured citizens, and to ensure that those responsible for these attacks face justice." On his flagship, Silurian Fleet Commander Vex watched the broadcast with amusement. "Brave words," he told his officers. "Prepare the fleet for the final assault on Earth. Their defenses will fall just as easily as Mars." His second-in-command looked nervous. "Sir, our scouts report unusual activity in Earth's defensive systems. They appear to be more extensive than our intelligence suggested." Vex waved away the concern. "Earth has been neutral for too long. They've forgotten how to fight." This will be over quickly. He had no idea how wrong he was. The Exilarian fleet approached Mars with confidence. 12 warships, arranged in attack formation, prepared to crush any Earth forces attempting to retake the Red Planet. Fleet Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display with satisfaction. No sign of Earth resistance, his sensor officer reported. The orbit is clear. Vex smiled. Begin landing additional troops. Wheel. A flash of light interrupted him. Alarms blared across the bridge. Sir, multiple ships just appeared from nowhere, the sensor officer shouted. Vex stared at the display in shock. Where space had been empty moments before, 7 sleek Earth vessels now moved in perfect formation. They didn't look like any Earth ships he had seen before. They were angular, black, and bristling with weapons. Impossible, Vex whispered. Earth doesn't have warships like these. On the lead Earth ship, Commander Lisa Wright gave the order. All ships, open fire, target their engines first. Beams of blue energy lanced out from the Earth vessels, striking the Exilarian ships with pinpoint accuracy. 3 Exilarian warships lost power immediately, drifting helplessly. How? Vex demanded as his flagship shuddered under a direct hit. Their weapons are cutting through our shields. His tactical officer looked up with fear in his eyes. They're using frequency-shifting weapons, something we've never seen before. Vex realized too late that Earth had hidden its true capabilities for decades. Behind its mask of neutrality, humanity had been preparing. On Earth, President Powell and her advisors watched the battle from the war room. The Mars defense is proceeding as planned, an officer reported. Commander Wright reports minimal casualties on our side. Dr. Alan Carter entered the room, his face lined with exhaustion but his eyes bright. The shield deployments are complete, he said. Luna Base and the asteroid settlements are now protected. President Powell nodded. And the prisoners on Mars? Special forces are moving to free them now, the defense minister answered. We have agents on the ground led by Maria Diaz. Beneath the surface of Mars, Maria moved through the tunnels with a team of Earth Special Forces. They had trained for this mission for days, using information from her refugee network. The main prison camp is half a kilometer ahead, she whispered, checking her scanner. 300 prisoners, mostly civilians from the colony. The team leader, Captain Eric Simmons, nodded. Guards? 20 Exilarian soldiers, standard rotation. Let's move. In orbit, the battle had turned decisively in Earth's favor. 8 Exilarian ships were disabled or destroyed. The remaining 4, including Vex's flagship, retreated to the edge of the system. This isn't possible. Vex raged as his damaged ship limped away. Earth was supposed to be defenseless without the Council's help. His communication officer interrupted. Sir, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Exilarian High Command. They're ordering all forces to return home immediately. What? Why? 3 more Earth battle groups have been detected near Exilarian colony worlds. Our home defenses are being redirected. Vex slumped in his command chair. The Empire had completely underestimated Earth's capabilities. What else had they been wrong about? On Mars, the prison camp liberation was successful. Maria helped the freed colonists aboard transport ships, while Captain Simmons secured the area. These people need medical attention, Maria told him. Many have been tortured for information. Earth doctors are waiting, Simmons assured her. We're bringing everyone home. In the Galactic Council chambers, Ambassador John Miller addressed the stunned representatives. News of Earth's decisive victory at Mars had spread quickly. Earth did not want this conflict, John said firmly. We maintained neutrality for over a century because we believed in peace, but when pushed, humanity remembers how to fight. The council chamber was silent. Many representatives looked uncomfortable, remembering how they had voted against helping Earth. The Exilarian Empire has now seen a fraction of Earth's military capability, John continued. We hope they choose to end this aggression before they see more. On his way out, the Andarian representative stopped John. Earth has been hiding remarkable strength, he said quietly. Perhaps my government would be interested in discussing an alliance. John smiled thinly. I believe Earth is open to new friendships now, especially with those who stand against tyranny. As John walked away, more representatives hurried to catch up with him. Earth was no longer just a neutral trade partner. It was a power to be reckoned with. 2 weeks after the Battle of Mars, Ambassador John Miller found himself in a very different position at the Galactic Council, where once he had been ignored, now representatives clustered around him, eager to talk. The Tandari Federation offers its full military support, said the purple-skinned Tandari ambassador. Our ships are at Earth's disposal. The Vega Collective wishes to share intelligence on Solarian fleet movements, offered another representative. John accepted these offers graciously, but with caution. He remembered which species had voted against Earth when help was needed most. In a private meeting room, John met with 5 key ambassadors from species that had also suffered Solarian aggression. Together, they formed the core of what would soon be called the Freedom Alliance. Earth's technology gives us an advantage, John explained, but we need your local knowledge and supply lines to push back Solarian forces. The reptilian ambassador from Sirius nodded. For too long, we have fought alone. Together, we have a chance. On Earth, Commander Lisa Wright worked with alien military officials to coordinate their combined fleets. It was challenging to integrate such different technologies and tactics, but Lisa was determined. Earth ships will take point positions, she explained to the assembled alien commanders. Your vessels will provide support and flanking maneuvers. A blue-skinned Andarian commander raised a tentacle. Our sensors detect a large Solarian force gathering near the Procyon system. They appear to be protecting something. Lisa studied the star charts. That's not a typical strategic location. Dr. Carter, any thoughts? Dr. Alan Carter had been analyzing Solarian communications with help from Maria's refugee network. He pulled up data on his tablet. We've intercepted fragments suggesting the Solarians are building something big at Procyon. The energy requirements are enormous. A weapon? Asked a Tandara general. Possibly. Alan replied. We need better intelligence. Maria Diaz, now officially heading Earth's Refugee Intelligence Network, had an idea. There's a labor camp in the Procyon system. The Exilarians use prisoners for construction projects. If we could free those prisoners, they could tell us what they're building. Lisa finished. Good thinking. President Powell approved the mission. A joint Earth Alliance strike force would hit the labor camp, free the prisoners, and gather intelligence on the mysterious Solarian project. Meanwhile, in the Solarian Empire, Emperor Dracos was furious. He paced the throne room as his generals knelt before him. Earth was supposed to be weak, he growled. You assured me their neutrality had made them soft. Fleet Commander Vex, now demoted after his failure at Mars, kept his eyes on the floor. The humans deceived us all. Emperor, they hid their true strength. And now they build alliances against us, Dracos said. Species that once feared us now rally behind Earth. His chief scientist stepped forward nervously. The project at Procyon proceeds on schedule. Emperor, once completed, no force in the galaxy can stand against it. Dracos smiled coldly. How soon? 2 weeks, Emperor. Then we must hold Earth and its allies at bay until then. He turned to his generals. Deploy our remaining fleets. Delay them, whatever the cost. The strike against the Procyon labor camp was swift and successful. Earth Special Forces, led by Captain Eric Simmons and guided by Maria, breached the camp defenses and freed over 2,000 prisoners. Among them was a Solarian scientist who had been imprisoned for opposing the Emperor's plans. He was brought before John Miller and Lisa Wright. It's a planet killer, the scientist said, his voice shaking. A weapon that can destroy an entire world from across the galaxy. The Emperor plans to target Earth first, then any planet that refuses to surrender. Lisa looked grim. How does it work? It creates an artificial quantum singularity, a black hole inside a planet's core. Nothing can survive. John contacted Earth immediately. We need to destroy that weapon before it's operational. We have 2 weeks. Across the galaxy, Alliance ships converge. The final battle was coming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. On his flagship, Emperor Dracos watched the weapon take shape on the view screen. Soon, he whispered. Soon, they will all kneel, or they will all die. The combined fleet of the Freedom Alliance gathered at the edge of the Procyon system. Over 200 ships from 17 different species hovered in formation. At the center was the Earth flagship Defender, commanded by Lisa Wright. All ships report ready, her communications officer said. Lisa nodded. Begin the approach. Remember, our primary target is the planet killer weapon. Everything else is secondary. The fleet moved forward, engines glowing against the darkness of space. On Earth, Ambassador John Miller worked frantically to gather last-minute intelligence. He had been in contact with a growing resistance movement within the Xelarian Empire itself. Many Xelarians opposed Emperor Dracos and his planet killer plans. The weapon is housed in a space station orbiting the 4th planet, John told President Powell. It's heavily defended by 60 warships and a planetary shield generator. Can our fleet break through? The president asked. John's face was grim. Not easily. But we have help from inside. In his laboratory, Dr. Alan Carter had made a critical discovery. The planet killer generates massive energy before firing, he explained to his team. That's its vulnerable moment. If we can trigger the firing sequence but hit the main reactor during the power buildup, it would destroy itself, his assistant Greg finished. Exactly. But someone would need to get inside to initiate the sequence. In the Procyon system, the battle began. Xelarian ships moved to intercept the Alliance fleet. Space lit up with weapons fire. Ships exploded on both sides as the largest space battle in galactic history unfolded. Lisa's tactical display showed heavy losses, but the Alliance was pushing through. Group 7 has broken their left flank, her tactical officer reported. We have a pathway to the station. Take it, Lisa ordered. Special forces ready. Captain Eric Simmons and his team, including Maria Diaz, were already aboard their stealth shuttle. Ready, Commander, Eric confirmed. We'll get it done. The shuttle slipped away from the Defender, its advanced stealth technology making it nearly invisible. It raced toward the massive space station while the battle raged around it. On the station, Emperor Dracos watched the battle with growing concern. His forces were fighting well, but the Alliance was more determined than expected. Prepare the weapon, he ordered. Target Earth. Even if they win this battle, they will have no home to return to. Scientists rushed to comply, powering up the massive planet killer. Unnoticed in the chaos, a small shuttle docked at a maintenance airlock. Maria and Eric's team cut their way inside. They moved through the station, following the schematics provided by Xelarian resistance members. The main control room is 2 levels up, Maria whispered, checking her scanner. Heavy guards. Eric nodded. We'll handle them. You get to the control panel. Meanwhile, Dr. Carter had transmitted the sabotage instructions. Remember, you need to initiate the firing sequence, then overload the containment field on the main reactor. In the battle outside, Lisa's ship took a direct hit. Alarms blared across the bridge. Shields at 20%, an officer shouted. Lisa held steady. Maintain position. We need to give the team time. Inside the station, Eric's team engaged the guards in a fierce firefight. Maria slipped past the battle into the control room. She found herself face to face with Emperor Dracos himself. A human, he sneered, drawing his weapon. How fitting that your species' last hope falls by my hand. Before he could fire, a shot rang out. Dracos fell, hit from behind by his own aide, a secret resistance member. Quickly, the aide said to Maria, "They've already started the firing sequence." Maria rushed to the controls, following Carter's instructions. She initiated the overload, then ran for the exit. "We have 5 minutes before this whole place explodes," she shouted into her communicator. "Everyone out now." The team fought their way back to the shuttle. Outside, the Alliance fleet received the warning and began to pull back. The massive space station began to glow with unstable energy. Emperor Dracos, wounded but still alive, realized what was happening. He tried to stop the overload, but it was too late. His greatest weapon was about to become his tomb. The Alliance ships retreated to a safe distance as the station exploded in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave disabled nearby Solarian vessels. With their Emperor gone and their superweapon destroyed, the remaining Solarian forces surrendered. 3 weeks later, representatives from across the galaxy gathered on Earth. For the first time, the Galactic Council met on human soil. John Miller stood beside President Powell as a new peace treaty was signed.